Welcome to Beyond Sprint, the podcast where I reconnect with inspiring entrepreneurs I have worked with. I'm your host, Karlis, and in this episode I'm joined by Diana Oganesian, founder of New Norm, an AI-powered mental health startup. I met Diana in 2024 during the plug-and-play Armenia Accelerator. In the conversation, we explore how her personal story inspired her to merge behavioral science and AI to make mental health support more accessible, and how intuition guides her as a serial entrepreneur. Let's get into it. Welcome to Beyond Sprint, Diana.
Thank you so very much.
It's been almost a year since we met. Can you imagine?
No, I cannot. Honestly, I cannot.
Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from my home. It is in Schiedam. It's very close to Rotterdam.
I'd like you to start with introducing yourself to the ones listening to this conversation.
So I'm a serial entrepreneur for last 2 decades. And also, not many people know that I am a behavioral scientist. I am doing right now my PhD in research psychology. And it seems I have been preparing all my life for a New Norm. It's an innovative company related to mental health and innovation technologies. And I'm really exciting. I haven't been so excited through my whole life. Also, it was toughest time because you are dealing daily not only with startup life, but you are dealing daily with the mental health of people, and you trying to help them, and it has its own challenges.
You mentioned that New Norm is the most exciting thing currently for you. What makes it so exciting?
Because it's coming from my family story and history. Because both of my grandfathers struggled with a deep, horrible depression after the earthquake happened in Armenia in 1988. Interesting thing that although nobody from the close family was harmed or killed, but both of them helping to save people. And I think that's definitely what happened with them afterwards. They struggled during 7, 8, maybe more years. And all my childhood, also during your childhood, it's part of your normal, because I was 5, and then, but when I was, I assume 15 or 16, one of my grandfathers came back literally because of the therapy, because he started to work, and I know what is it to deal with the depression. Because I know what is it to live with a person who is in the depression. So what excited me in the new technologies, that it's possible to help more people. Because why it took so long, 7 years? Because literally in Armenia we haven't have anybody to help professionally during post-Soviet period time. So and still now worldwide we have 4 million mental health professionals, and according to WHO, we have more than 1 million of people who needed this help. It doesn't mean that they are sick, just needed some type of support. And I do believe that new technologies could really close that gap.
Okay. On one hand, I'm super sorry to hear about this experience of yours and your grandparents. But on the other hand, I also hear that this has been an inspiration for you to do something better for those who really need therapy, because that is, especially these days, I think people are more and more open to therapy, but it's inaccessible, and therefore, due to the huge demand, also the price of therapists goes up. And I think that also creates the opportunity for New Norm to fill the gap, or at least provide more accessible therapist or therapist type of a solution in the early stage.
Yes, and not everyone needs a therapy. I mean, long term time, but sometimes you need to speak up about certain problems. Either it's a problem with your teenager, or either it's you don't understand if you want to write a book or not, like really deep down. So it's not only like support, because it's definitely not. The new technology is not replacing therapists, but doing their job until a certain person will have opportunity to have a certain therapist, or in a normal life before like AI era, we will deal with this alone, maybe not in a better way, but my vision to have more prosper world when all the adults like navigating through win-win like mood, if you wish. And for that we need sometimes to understand what do we really want. So it's not necessarily that you have a certain diagnosis or problem, but it's sometimes it's a way of being heard, maybe in a new way.
We have our people around that are listening us or asking these questions, and then there are also, let's say, tools as new norm. How can one complement these two approaches?
Yeah, sure. But before that, I want to mention one thing related to AI and mental health and connected with your question. Very interesting thing that 100% of our current users, they are coming after using ChatGPT, and sort of ChatGPT or another generative AI is warming up them. And what's the difference? That because what is the therapy? I mean, you are going to therapy to talk, like talking therapy, right? And by asking certain questions, you are building inner mechanism for inner support. I mean, you are building certain role in yourself to discuss with yourself certain things and to rely on that certain role in yourself. So the problem with generative AI that generative AI is pleasing you, because generative AI very often said whatever you want it to say, unconsciously or consciously, because and that's the problem, because unconsciously like you cannot rely on certain thing or person, whoever you can manipulate, or who please you or what start pleasing you. So the main difference with like New Norm and other, hopefully other platforms, that it's behavioral science and AI helping to navigate and bring person to behavioral science. What does it mean? That they're very good bunch of big and small groups of like techniques and schools that bring you to a certain mood and navigate you to a certain way of thinking. So, and it could not please you. Sometimes even it could, you can feel about it like grumpy, not pleasant or whatever, but it's a mechanism. That's why it's very important to have. As to the Vive or other connections we have, because I am as you, I need to speak up. I have journals from the time I'm 12, and I really need to bring my thoughts into the physical world to understand what I really want. But sometimes the certain person surrounded you also busy and in challenging processes. Sometimes you need to think alone and then go and share it with someone to be challenged, or maybe for any other reason. And new norm is a possibility for that certain times when you alone, you may before you may journaling or speaking out loud with yourself, but new norm is there to be instead. Or sometimes you need a professional, a really professional navigation. And I would bring an example. I have two kids, son and daughter. Daughter is 11, and she didn't allow me to go to her expo. It's a first expo, it's scientific expo at school, and I was so proud of her but she didn't want any of us, her family, to go, and I was really worried. And I asked Norm and I talked about this situation, and Norm asked me to ask my daughter certain questions in a nice way, like whenever we're relaxed or doing something, to understand either I am super controlling mother, or she wants to understand, my daughter wants to understand for herself that she's adult already, can do something alone, and it's a part of separation, normal part of separation, or it's something else. I don't remember now, the third one. Eventually I asked certain questions. Eventually I didn't go to her concert, and I understood that it made us even closer, because it was part of her separation. And without the Norm, I would go. I would insist, and I would go, honestly.
Wow, thanks for sharing this. I appreciate you sharing the story. It seemed really personal, and from what I'm taking away from what you just shared, I like how you compared new norm to different tools that how I proceed with self-reflection. If currently the most available self-reflection tools have been journaling, conversation with myself, conversation with closer person or a professional, then it seems that what you're creating here is another tool in my toolbox for this self-reflection, especially when I'm alone. And usually in journaling, although I might ask questions to myself, they might not be as good as LLM, where the foundation is already built on top of how therapists think, right?
Yeah, and this is not only LLM. It's a very interesting story, because my co-founder is AI engineer, PhD from Microsoft, etc., and with huge experience. And a couple of months ago, we understood that LLM literally cannot solve our problems, because it starting to change the techniques on the way, and please people, and say not the. It was not part of the professional, let's say, techniques, and it's very dangerous, let's say, in that way.
Let me jump in, because I'm not as enlightened as you are on these topics. Would it be appropriate to frame it that as an LLM, it's a black box, and you don't know what is going to spit out at some point? So is that yes. The consideration here?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Because it's like an algorithm, right? It's put words, whenever it's considered, right, and yes, it worked in a certain way, but not as we trying to make him behave during the certain requests, let it say, because questions is request, or information is request. And step by step we got into this human memory database engine. It was first step, because first thing we understood that it could not, or the system cannot work with emotions. Because how LLM work, after certain tokens, it's squeeze the information, summarize the information, and emotional information fall out, let's say that's way. And whenever system doesn't remember the emotions, mental mind connected system, it's it's not very good for long-term, let's say, process or navigation, or the healing, if you wish. It was the first step. Second step, we understood that it also we are memorizing the information in a very good way. It doesn't work as it should work, and we understood that the whole problems human beings wanted to discuss, we can separate in 25 groups. And in 25 groups, again, you understand, we separate the requests in 3 different groups, immediate solving the problem. I'm having my meeting in 5 minutes, I'm shaking, or now my daughter is in hysterical, crying, I need to stop it. Second, there is a time frame to solve certain problem, not now, but in a time frame. And the third is just certain worries, things, thoughts that I want to navigate and understand answers for me, or just thinking about it. And for each type of problem and each type of request, we separated the agents, but kind of angels, agent family, and we have right now multi-agentic layer who work on the top of this LLM memory, and so every time you are talking about something, our certain AI agent switching on and switching off. Yeah.
So that is December 2024, when you were in Plug and Play Armenia Accelerator. And as you shared yourself, you're currently based in the Netherlands. And I was wondering, what made you go to Accelerator in your home country while you were based in the Netherlands and you have this experience with the US and also Switzerland?
Yes, it's very interesting because I haven't been in Armenia like for 3 years, I think, by that time. This is my first startup. Also, I'm a serial entrepreneur. My all previous experiences, also it was really successful. But there was classical businesses, no startup. You know, it's very specific to having startup, like all these rounds and VCs, and this was the whole new world for me. So Plug and Play, Katya Roshkova, she literally found us during one of my pitches, and she wrote an email, and I haven't known about Plug and Play. I had no idea what is Plug and Play at all. Yeah. So and as I was in the process of building team in Armenia, development team, and by that time my co-founder was there, right now based in Prague. It was a very cool opportunity to go and deep dive into these processes, and I understood that it's a good possibility for me to pitch our idea for mentors like you were too, and to challenge myself and to really understand this world. And because to be successful, I understood I should forget anything I know, and really start from the scratch. And honestly, if it would be any other country, I would go anyway. Because of the opportunities, because if it's Armenia, it was even better. But if it would be Latvia or any other country, I would go anyway.
You said that the program made you forget some things and start from scratch. Do you want to elaborate on that?
Yeah, sure. Because, I used to have a creative agency, digital marketing agency, even Extreme Park, one of the biggest in Armenia. I co-founded. I have co-founders, of course. And it still existed, the Yale Extreme Park. Go if you are in Armenia, it's the best place to be. But anyway, it's a totally different mindset. Totally. Because you are not thinking so much about scaling, about being worldwide. You are thinking about different things and different stuff, and it's a different navigation mode. Totally. How you behave too.
What is the role of your network and the people surrounding you in your success?
It's huge. And when I discussed with my son, he's 14, that network, friends, knowledge is the most important thing. I understood it when I was in my late 30s, like now, maybe okay, for 10 years maybe. But it is very, very important to be ambitious but humble at the same time, to understand that many people knows way better and deeper, etc. And it's very important, because after the Orange, I assume I have never sent my CV. I mean, people just, and there's two guys. The guy from Netris, he's in Orange, head of networking department. And the guy, the Swiss guy, was client of my agency. No, friend of client of my agency. God. So, and he visited our office with him. He was a friend of my brother too, one of my cousins. And so he just, I don't, and I asked him how. I mean, you remember about me and understood that you needed me. I said, I don't know. I just don't know. I felt it. Because the funny thing that when I decided to leaving Netris for different reasons, I was in a car with my cousin in the United States, driving, and I didn't know what to do next by that time because I decided to be in Netris for a couple of years, and I decided to not. And this guy called my cousin by asking where I am. But he didn't know that I'm in the United States or in the car, so it's very, very funny. But you should be ready for that moment, you know?
What can one help to generate such moments? Is it only pure luck, or is there something that I as a person can do that I receive these moments more?
You know, when, for instance, in Orange, or doesn't matter, it's hired, I am hired or I'm not hired, I'm working like it is my company always. It was not always good for people surrounding me because I was always demanding like hell, and not from me and then from others. I always spoke up whenever I saw certain problems, always. And I will, and maybe this energy make people believe in a certain moments of their life that they need me.
Would it be from what you're sharing here? I would reframe it as doing my best in every situation, and what you just described by being demanding and working hard through that way. You just did your best, and that's why the people you work with or for whom you worked remembered you and gave that call. For example, in that particular case, to your cousin to ask, where's Diana?
I think the problem, not the problem, the solution is I have never worked for money. I mean, I always like to receive a good salary. Because it's appreciation. It's not the case, but I always quit whenever I understood that my mission is over here. And
how do you know that your mission is over?
I just, I used to be in my agency, Morocco, for 7 years. During last 3 years, it was a struggle because I was working with my close friend, and either I should be a good businesswoman or a bad friend or vice versa. And afterwards, I understood that I should quit. The right decision was quitting in 4 years, not in 7. And I lost these 3 years, to be honest. With this struggling with she's my friend, she's a very good person, but for me it's my story. Yesterday promised myself after this, I remember where I promised myself whenever my intuition said to me go, you need to go in spite of anything else. That's why recently, a couple of days ago, I was chatting with one of our VCs, a very cool guy, and he said, you changed so many fields. Whenever we debating, either we should invest, they did eventually or not. We were scared. The main concern was that you are right now dealing in mental health, and then you will quit and go further. But they didn't know that when after this, I was quitting because I was looking forward my passion. Or honestly, I did know that, but I was not brave enough to start it sooner. So now I found it, but I understand their point. So after the Morocco, I understand that whenever this voice, and I started to recognize this voice, to talk with this voice, to be in a, I didn't when I was younger. Right now I hear myself better. And whenever I speak myself, is it fear? No. If it's not fear, fear is not a good voice. I'm lazy. Laziness is not a good voice. No. Fear, no. Laziness, no. In that case, this is it. So go for it. This is my own formula. I'm not sure that it will work for someone else, but this is how I navigate this world.
How do you improve on hearing yourself?
Therapy. Literally, I have been in therapy for 6 years. Whenever I had my second child and my daughter, because in my family, we had the problems mother daughter for 5 generations. And yes, I know my history of my family very well, very well. Always, it was the most interesting thing to me, to bothering my grandfathers, grandmothers, by asking them to tell me stories, etc., and all other relatives. So, and I surely remember the moment when I understood that it's a daughter, like girl, the happiness and the fear, like literally, I was horrified, and because I hadn't had such a feeling with my son. He's 14 now. And I decided to go to therapy, and I decided to myself that I would not repeat this story. I would not. So, and this is when it was start to find my voice. I was 31 by that time. I'm 42 now, and it was a very interesting journey, because you start with something, and I'm not in a therapy. Also, from time to time, I think everyone should go do these checkups. And I said we are going to, I don't know, dentist or someone else. But it was the start of understanding myself, what I really want.
Let me ask you the final question, because I had also some more, but I know that we're running out of time. And to be honest, over the last year, I have talked with many entrepreneurs, but I would say that in my podcast, you're one of the first truly serial entrepreneurs, because I counted you have started 6 ventures.
Actually, 1, 2, 3, 4 is fifth. It's fifth.
Fifth. Okay.
Actually, I have serious fifth.
Okay, so be 5. So if you had to share one thing to a first-time entrepreneur about building the next venture, what would be that one thing you would tell them?
Everything will be, if you ask myself, everything will be mind related, and I want to build our biggest mental health diagnostic center using all the innovations in Armenia next year. But it will be part of my current venture, and everything I'm going to do in the future going to be if it was the question, like mental health related. And this is because I do believe that you should do whatever really excites you, is what I'm talking about, excites you, and but sometimes I have friends for whom money is his calling. I would bring an example. It was one of my ex-co-founders. I asked him, what is the most exciting part of our day or week or whatever for him? He said, whenever money from our clients arriving to our bank account, when I see the notification, it really makes me so happy. You cannot imagine. For me, it was never the case. I was satisfied, but I could not connect happiness with this feeling like at all, zero.
Working with my mind, to exploring it, to understand what is my passion that's going to drive me.
Yes, because your passion may be just, and it could be a small thing, it could be really a small thing. And not afraid of these labels, because right now everyone in a big visions by, not necessarily, like it's not necessarily this stuff. Just hear yourself and start small. You can fail. Don't be afraid of falling and changing direction. And it really, and I mean it doesn't matter what others think about you, because whenever you just keep going and you end up in a successful place. Honestly, I have been there in horrible situations when nobody believed in us, and doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter.
Just keep going and follow what inspires you. Nice. Diana, thank you very much for taking time of your Tuesday to have this conversation, and let's go for this.
Thank you so much.
That wraps up my conversation with Diana. Let's take a moment to reflect on my key takeaways. First, follow what truly excites you. Diana's journey shows that meaningful ventures grow from personal passion, not just a business opportunity. Second, listen to your inner voice. Through therapy and self-reflection, Diana learned to recognize when it's time to move on, pivot, or start something new. And third, build with empathy and purpose. With the new norm, Diana is merging behavioral science and AI to make mental health support accessible not for a select few, but for everyone. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, follow Diana and check out New Norm. And don't forget to subscribe to Beyond Sprint for more conversations with founders who are shaping the future. Till next time.